The U.S. government is on the verge of yet another partial shutdown, even as progress was made on a bipartisan funding agreement in the Senate to keep the federal agencies open. And at the heart of it are calls for stricter guidelines for federal immigration agents. And joining me now is Washington Stand reporter Casey Harper, who's been following all of today's stories. Casey, let's start with this one. Can you walk us through the basic outline of what this deal is?
Sure, Jody. This is a big story we've been following closely. So this bipartisan deal would allow Congress to pass a spending bill that covers a wide swath of government operations, from the military to their health programs, while they negotiate these new limits on Trump's immigration crackdown via ICE, which expires at midnight. Here's one of your favorite guys, Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer.
I hope we can get voting quickly here in the Senate today so we can move forward on the important work of reining in ICE. The clock is ticking, the nation is waiting, and the abuses of ICE must come to an end.
So what reforms are Democrats asking for? Well, they want to end these roving ICE patrols, which inevitably end up bumping into protesters. They also want to require body cameras on these agents and prevent them from covering their faces. They also want to require immigration agents to get a search warrant from a judge rather than from their own officials, an administrative warrant. And those ideas are things that, Jody, Republicans say they could be open to.
Well, we will certainly keep a watch on all of that as it unfolds. Casey, also today, President Trump tapped a new head for the U.S. Central Bank, former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh. If that appointment goes through, what could this mean for interest rates, among other things?
Well, the president has consistently called for lower interest rates. That's no secret. And reporters in the Oval Office actually asked him that very question today. Here's a clip from the president.
We talk about it, and I've been following them, and I don't want to ask him that question. I think it's inappropriate, probably. It probably would be allowed, but I want to keep it nice and pure. But he certainly wants to cut rates. I've been watching him for a long time.
Now, that question of purity is something Democrats are concerned about. Senator Chuck Schumer warned that Warsh would have to make it clear that he would be independent from President Trump in his leadership. Now, if he is approved by the Senate, he would replace Jerome Powell after Powell's leadership term ends in May.
All right. One more question for you before I let you go, Casey. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon, of course, has been arrested for his involvement in a protest at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Can you fill us in on some of the latest developments there?
Sure, Jody. That arrest did come after he invaded that church in St. Paul, Minnesota, where him and other protesters disrupted a worship service that was going on there. They were protesting the fact that one of the elders at that church was working for ICE. Now, according to the DOJ and to a DOJ official, Lemon is being charged with conspiring to deprive others of their civil rights and violating the FACE Act by allegedly obstructing access to a house of worship. Lemon is expected to have his day in court in Los Angeles, Jody.
Casey, thank you so much, as always, for keeping us up to speed on what's going on. We appreciate it.